everyone. How is everyone doing today? I'm doing alright. I hope you all had a good Mother's Day and happy belated Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I saw my mom yesterday and we went out to eat and we planted flowers. So that was pretty fun. I like being in the dirt. But yeah, so it was a good day. And yeah, today has been pretty good. I woke up at I woke up at like 10, I think, but I didn't get out of bed until like 11, and I slept pretty okay. I took a neuro sleep drink, and that was all I took. I took some passion flower too, but I don't really think that had any effect on me. But I didn't take a sleep aid, a Benadryl, so it was really cool that I fell asleep without taking that. So, yeah, and today when I woke up, or once I got ready at like 12:30 or something, we went to a coffee house and got some coffee, and then we went to lunch at a barbecue restaurant that has vegetarian barbecue, which is fucking awesome, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to eat there. But yeah, they have like 4 things on the menu that are vegetarian, which is just like incredible. I fucking love it. But yeah, so we just did that and we just got back like not that long ago, like 20 minutes ago. And now I'm making a video. So also, sorry guys, I want to give a shout out to Renee. Renee has started a channel where she talks about bipolar disorder type 1, and she reads her poetry aloud, and she is a really good poet, and her poems are amazing, and she like does like millions of them. I don't know how you do it, Renee. You are such a good writer and so creative, and you just like you are my inspiration. So yeah, check her out. I will link her channel below because she just got started on YouTube, and it would be great if you guys could go over there and subscribe to her. So yeah, what I wanted to talk about today, which I haven't really talked about yet, is my diagnoses throughout the years, like what my first diagnosis was and what my last diagnosis was. And I've actually had quite a lot of diagnoses throughout the years. So it started when I was a teenager, when I was 14, like 14 to 16. My parents just like took me to the psychiatrist because I was kind of a rebellious teenager and I acted out a lot, and they just thought something was up possibly. So they took me to the psychiatrist, and I got diagnosed with major depressive disorder and social anxiety. And as far as medication that I took when I was a teenager, I took Lexapro, Effexor, and Seroquel. So, oh, and then I took like Adderall and Ritalin and Strattera, because, oh yeah, also, while I was in high school, I was diagnosed with ADD. So I was prescribed medication for that. So I was diagnosed with those 3 diagnoses, and I went untreated. Like, I stopped seeing the psychiatrist after I was like 16, and I went untreated from like age 16 to age 23, I guess, or 24. And I went to a psychiatrist again when I was 24 because I was having a major depressive episode, and the person who I was dating at the time was just like, this is out of control, you've got to go see a doctor, you've got to get on something because you're just so miserable, you're like in a corner crying every night, and yeah, it was bad. So I I went to the psychiatrist, and she was a really bad psychiatrist, but she diagnosed me with bipolar type 2 because I wasn't like exhibiting any signs of mania at the time. I was just depressed. But I guess I told her like my history, and she thought maybe I had hypomania and diagnosed me with bipolar 2. But yeah, so she actually did not believe me when I told her about my hallucinations and delusions. Her response to my stories was, maybe you're just having anxiety. What the fuck? Like, no, these are true hallucinations and delusions, and you don't just make this shit up. It's not anxiety. Whatever. So that made me really upset, actually, because I just felt like it wasn't being taken seriously at all. And I ended up going to a different psychiatrist, like, not very long after seeing her for a few weeks, because she didn't take me seriously. So I went to a different psychiatrist like a month or two later, and that psychiatrist diagnosed me with bipolar disorder, and I don't think she ever specified if it was type 1 or type 2. I think we had a conversation where it was type 1, but I never like saw it written down on like insurance papers or anything, like what she submitted to the insurance company, what my diagnosis was. So I can't say for sure if it was type 1 or type 2, but when we talked about it, we talked about like my hallucinations and stuff, so I'm pretty sure it was type 1. But anyway, so also when I was seeing that doctor, I brought up my ADD diagnosis in the past, and she said, well, that's actually probably just part of your bipolar, so I don't think you have ADD, I just think that your ADD is symptoms of your bipolar. So she kind of tossed that diagnosis out the window. So, and she also diagnosed me with anxiety. Again, she didn't say specifically whether it was generalized anxiety disorder or panic disorder or what. She just diagnosed me with anxiety, and at that point she like prescribed me benzos to take. With this doctor, I was actually on a ton of medication. I was on 6 different medications at all times. So she just was so medication happy that I was always on something. And none of it worked for me. Like, I still had episodes, like, I had a lot of manic episodes during that time, and psychotic episodes. So, yeah, she was really nice, but she didn't really know what she was doing, like, entirely. So, yeah, I didn't really get any positive results out of seeing her. But, so now we're at this point in time where I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder and anxiety, and I have my first, or actually, I go to the ER for a suicide attempt, and the ER psychiatrist diagnosed me as borderline personality disorder. So again, I went in because I was depressed and I wasn't manic, and for some reason suicide attempts are like associated with like borderline personality disorder, because that's like a symptom of borderline is repeated suicidal gestures. So I don't know why they diagnosed me as that, because they didn't like thoroughly really give me a psych evaluation. You're just kind of like, oh, suicide attempt, must be borderline personality disorder. So I don't know. I definitely did not agree with that diagnosis. Although there was a point in time when I was like 19 that I knew something was wrong with me other than just depression. Like, I just didn't feel right. I felt like I had more symptoms than just depression. And I looked into borderline personality disorder, And I thought maybe that's what I had, because at the time I did like idealize and like de um, devaluize people pretty heavily, and I sort of had like black and white thinking. I had mood swings, obviously, because I'm bipolar, but that's also a symptom of borderline personality disorder. So I was like, oh, that kind of matches up, and I was self-harming, and self-harm and like suicide gestures or attempts is a symptom of a borderline personality disorder too. So I thought maybe I had borderline personality disorder. But when I went to the psychiatrist and got diagnosed as bipolar, I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot more sense. And I kind of grew out of that, like, black and white thinking slash idealizing and devaluing people. Like, that just, I don't know, I don't experience that anymore. Like, I experienced that when I was a teenager, like my late teens, maybe early 20s, but it just kind of, like, I just kind of, like, grew out of it, so, like, it wasn't a thing anymore. But anyway, so, yeah, that suicide attempt that they diagnosed me with borderline, I got put into the hospital at that point, and when I was in the hospital, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder with psychotic symptoms. So I was given that diagnosis in the hospital. And I got out of that hospital visit, and a week later I went back to a different hospital because I still wasn't doing well. So I went to another hospital, and that hospital diagnosed me with bipolar disorder with psychotic features versus schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type. Like, they gave me like a dual diagnosis because they weren't sure which one I had. So after that, I went to the psychiatrist who was like working at that hospital but also saw outpatients. And after further evaluating me, he decided that schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type, fit me better than bipolar disorder 1 with psychotic features. So that is how I got to be schizoaffective disorder bipolar type. Now, I did have another incident after my diagnosis of that where I overdosed and I ended up in the hospital. And I think what happened this time was the ER doctor just looked at my notes from the last time I was in that hospital for like self-harm behavior, and he said I was borderline again. So that same hospital diagnosed me as borderline personality disorder twice. And yeah, I really didn't like that doctor either. He was, I don't know, he also like didn't really diagnose me. He's just like, self-harm behavior, borderline personality disorder. Like, it's not a thorough diagnosis, you guys. But yeah, so that is everything I have been diagnosed with. So my final diagnosis, well, I guess technically my final diagnosis is borderline personality disorder, but that was just an ER psychiatrist's opinion, and it wasn't, I didn't like, my psychiatrist that I see now doesn't think I have borderline personality disorder, so he just diagnoses me with schizoaffective disorder bipolar type. So that's my final diagnosis. And as far as anxiety disorders go, like, every doctor has diagnosed me as having anxiety, but I was only diagnosed with social anxiety when I was a teenager. Like, the other doctors, like, no one has diagnosed me as like generalized anxiety disorder or panic disorder. They just say that I have anxiety and they give me medicine for anxiety. So I don't really know about that. I mean, I don't really care. I fucking know that I have anxiety, so I don't really need that written down on paper. But yeah, so that has been my diagnosis journey, don't get any more diagnoses. The one that was the most difficult to process was definitely schizoaffective disorder, because I never saw my hallucinations and delusions as abnormal. Like, I had them since I was a child, and I just thought that everyone experienced this. Like, everyone would see, like, people that weren't there, and hear things that weren't there, and have, like, beliefs that, like, people are reading their minds. Like, I thought that everyone experienced that. So I never thought anything of it, like, until they brought up, like, bipolar disorder with psychotic features or a schizoaffective disorder, did I think that, oh, I actually have a bigger problem here. So, yeah, that one's been kind of hard to digest, but I think I'm getting there. I'm kind of slowly accepting it. But, yeah, so that is all. That's just what I want to share with you guys for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have not subscribed to me yet, please subscribe to me, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.